David Reich, Who We Are and How We Got Here, Ancient DNA and the New Science of the Human Past. Embark on an astounding journey through the fascinating world of ancient DNA and the complexities of human history, as we explore the enlightening book, Who We Are and How We Got Here, Ancient DNA and the New Science of the Human Past, by David Reich. Delve into our genetic past, revealing how various human species evolved and mixed to create the modern humans we are today. Discover intriguing insights on mitochondrial DNA and ancestral migrations, the mysteries of Neanderthals, Denisovans, and various ghost populations, as well as the influence of genetic studies on our understanding of language, culture, and society.
The DNA analysis unravels human evolution. DNA analysis has revolutionized our understanding of who we are and where we come from. DNA molecules form the genetic code, which consists of twin chains of molecules called nucleotides. Genes are fragments of these chains that instruct us about how our body is built. Mutations are the random variations in inherited sequences that make us unique and distinguish our ancestry. The discovery of mitochondrial Eve through mitochondrial DNA has changed our views on evolution. All humans of today are descended from a single female ancestor who lived in Africa no more than 200,000 years ago. This discovery negates the multi-regional theory that says subsets of human species evolved in parallel in different continents and implies that modern humans evolved in Africa and spread worldwide only 50,000 years ago. DNA analysis, like a grenade explosion, requires dissecting scattered shrapnel to get an exact picture of each bit's origin. Nonetheless, it's an awe-inspiring modern science wonder that decodes the source of our existence. The rise and fall of other human species. The migration of non-African humans led to the extinction of other human species like Neanderthals and the discovery of Denisovans. Neanderthals were not as primitive as once believed, and some interbreeding with non-Africans occurred around 54,000 to 49,000 years ago, making non-African genomes 1.5 to 2.1% Neanderthal. Denisovans were discovered in 2008 and are closely related to Neanderthals, with between 3 and 6% of New Guinean ancestry being Denisovan. The possibility of interbreeding remains high due to the lack of migration to the Pacific region. The genetic history of Europe. Throughout history, there were at least 4 major populations in Europe, with each one being as distant from the other as modern Europeans and East Asians. The Yamnaya, who developed in the Eastern European steppes around 5,000 years ago, were genetically the earliest and closest ancestral group for modern Europeans. Modern mainland Europeans also show strong ancestral influence from them, as well as from the corded ware culture. Genetic analysis has shown that the ancient North Eurasians, a previously unidentified ghost population, contributed to modern DNA. The migrations of steppe peoples may also explain a critical facet of Indo-European languages. Otzi the Iceman, who is a 5,300-year-old naturally mummified corpse, reveals clues about people's ancestry, and it appears that he is most closely related to modern Sardinians who were less affected by later migrations. The origins of Indian population. The Rig Veda sheds light on the Arya's history, who likely built the fortresses in Indus Valley before being displaced by ancestral North Indians, Ainu, from Western Eurasia. Through mixing, modern Indians have 20 to 80% ANI and ancestral South Indian, ASI, ancestries, reflected in the Indian caste system and modern languages. Studies show individual Jati groups are genetically defined and likely adhered to strict intermarriage for thousands of years. The complex ancestry of Native Americans. The origins of Native Americans are more complicated than previously believed. The first Americans that migrated from Asia are now known to have been preceded by the ghost population, Population Y, and evidence of human habitation predating the Clovis people has been found in Chile. However, the vast majority of Native American populations share a common lineage and migrated to the Americas through a land bridge between Asia and Alaska. The expansion of these populations across the continent was rapid, and some Amazonian tribes have been found to be more closely related to Australasians than other populations. Tracing East Asian Ancestry. East Asia has been the home of humans for over 1.7 million years, and studies reveal that three main populations of East Asia descend from two ancient lines. The Yangtze River ghost population and the Yellow River ghost population still influence the gene pools of East Asia's populations. Three main clusters are found in specific areas, one around the Amur River basin, another around the Tibetan Plateau, and finally, the third around Southeast Asia, Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island. However, all three contain varying mixture of two ancient ghost populations, which spread through agriculture to different parts of East Asia. Moreover, DNA studies have verified that all Austronesian speakers, found across hundreds of Pacific islands, have their roots in the Aboriginal Taiwanese population, who likely sailed their way to different islands over 800 years ago. Though more remains to be discovered about East Asia's complex ancestry, progress is dependent on the Chinese government, who are protective of their fossil records and have been building their own DNA labs. Africa's multiple migration waves. Africa has seen multiple migration waves, with four major expansive migrations taking place over the last few thousand years. The biggest migration was of Bantu peoples, while Nilo-Saharan languages were spread by migrating cattle herders. Afroasiatic languages might have arrived with the spread of agriculture from the Near East around 7,000 years ago. The Kokwati languages were spoken in southern Africa and are famous for their click sounds. DNA analysis has confirmed these migration patterns, revealing that a ghost population, the East African foragers, was displaced by expanding agriculturists who were more closely related to modern non-Africans than any other present-day population on the continent. The myth of a uniform human population. Race Against Time challenges the belief that humanity will eventually become a homogeneous population, highlighting the fact that diversity has always existed. Race Against Time is a book based on an intriguing idea that suggests that by 2300 AD, humans will lose all biological diversity and become a standard population. However, the author points out that this premise is flawed because it assumes that human population mixing over the last few centuries is unique in history. Genome analysis has shown that diverse populations have always interbred through frequent population movements. The author cites examples, such as couplings between powerful men and less powerful women from different populations, the mixing of Europeans and enslaved African populations in America, and even the possibility that Genghis Khan himself left millions of direct descendants, indicating a gender imbalance. This imbalance is also evident in the Y chromosomes of Eurasians, which show many male star clusters, meaning a single male has numerous descendants, while mitochondrial DNA reveals that most people do not have a common female ancestor within the last 10,000 years. In essence, the book highlights that diversity is part of human existence, and it is unlikely that humanity will devolve into one standard population. The author also wonders whether societal changes such as the civil rights movement have reduced the sex bias seen in genetic data. Overall, the book challenges readers to rethink the assumption that humanity will inevitably become an indistinguishable mass, reminding readers of the resilience of human diversity that has always existed. The complexities of race and genetics. In trying to understand why prostate cancer occurs more often among African American men than among Americans of European ancestry, a geneticist identified a part of the genome that raised the risk of this disease. However, his research was met with accusations of using language associated with white supremacists, and the debate about race as a social construct versus biological race continues. Geneticists have shown that variation between individuals within the same population rises to about 85%, while average variation between populations as a whole is no more than 15%. While such groupings have been helpful for medical science, some individuals abuse publicly available data to affirm their racist beliefs. However, the truth remains that data does show differences between populations, but these are not as drastic as some may claim, and all people deserve the same respect regardless of any differences that are seen on the surface or are buried in the human genome.
In the end, armed with the knowledge from who we are and how we got here, we gain a deeper appreciation of the intricate tapestry of human evolution, migrations, and interactions that have shaped our collective past. Revel in the revelations about various human species, like the Neanderthals and Denisovans, and the rich diversity that played a role in creating the modern humans we are today. Uncover the impact of these discoveries on current cultural practices, languages, and even scientific research. The journey through ancient DNA is more than an exploration of our past. It enriches our understanding of the human condition and our shared origins.